In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. To be perfectly crass, that's all I have to say. I could say, oh, thank you very much, and we'll go have a bite to eat. Because that's the essence of my few words. That's the essence of what I have to say to me and to you. I am deeply, deeply honored to be on this hardwood floor in this Ukrainian center with you at this moment of my life. There's no place on the planet I would prefer to be at all, not with my grandchildren, not anything, than here at this moment with you. And it's a fact. How many of you were not here at Oak Kemper and heard me talk last year? Most of you. How many of you were present at Antiochian Village and heard me talk in June? One. Now I ask that because I'm going to change what I'm going to do. That is a song from my wife. My intent is, for those who were here last year at Oak Kemper, to say 80% stuff new, 20% highlight stuff repeat, because I think it's vital. I begin every talk I give, youth or non, crossroad or non, with these two sentences. And I'll ask you to take them down. Does everybody have an index card and a pen? If not, we'll get you one. Just put up your hand if you need one. Okay, so the first sentence is, Christ is everything. Christ is everything. Second sentence. The cross is a difficult, second sentence. The cross is a difficult privilege. Now, to the extent that I can, I'm going to try to get you invested in this hour because you'll benefit from it. So this is private. We won't discuss it. On your card, please write down for your own elucidation, one cross I am carrying right now. Write it down. If not, one cross I'm carrying right now. We all have crosses. Now I submit that if I did not have my crosses and you did not have your crosses, we very well might not be here today. That is to say, our crosses are part of our impulse, part of God's way of directing us. So the topic we'll deal with is the topic of my book and the topic of the podcast I have on Ancient Faith Radio, Becoming a Healing Presence. Becoming a healing. And every word is very carefully chosen. Becoming means not being. I am not a healing presence, but I'm becoming one. Means me. I'm a singular human being. Healing, you know what that means. Presence, Healing presence means I heal by my presence, not by my skills, not by my words. I heal, God heals through me, by my presence. That is to say, my soul and body, Mimi. And that in and of itself can be lava. That can be hot fire for other people. So that's what I'm about to say. Now, this will deal mostly with how. Okay. By the way, becoming a healing presence is axiomatic to love. I'm a healing presence to others. I love them to the extent that I can. Christ through me. I become a healing presence, by God's grace only, through my sufferings and through my stillness. I'd say that. Now, there's more to say, but I would say that much. Melinda, even the next set of lights in the back? In fact, Melinda, if you could, turn all the top lights on. A little bit better. I think you can see well enough to write. I and you would like to become more of a healing presence. That is, when I am with somebody, anybody, I would like to, even if they are, quite healthy, be a healing presence. By my sufferings, by my stillness. Sufferings. I wasn't going to say this, but I told it as an anecdote to someone a few moments ago, and she said, "Oh, tell that when you talk." I said, "I don't think so, but I will." Our Lord, particularly in John, refers to himself as the Good Shepherd. I've been to Palestine and seen shepherds. A flock of 100. If a shepherd discovers one of his sheep strays, it's always a young sheep, a lamb. Sheep who stray don't become old. A young sheep strays, the shepherd takes his 99, puts him in a cave, puts a fire in front, and goes looking. When he finds his strayed sheep, puts that on his shoulders, goes back to the front of the cave. And this is the hard part to say, but it's truth as I understand it. The shepherd then, the question is, how's the shepherd going to make sure that sheep doesn't stray again? Out in the Palestinian wasteland are lions and bear and vultures that descend 100 kilometers an hour and pick up a baby camel, certainly a baby sheep, as well as poisonous toads and wolves. How's the shepherd going to make sure that little lamb doesn't go out there again? Can't talk to it, can't put it on a leash. The shepherd takes the lamb and breaks its front leg. Then he puts the front leg in a cast tightly. The little lamb can't walk, puts the little lamb on his shoulders and carries it for the next 6 weeks. In those 6 weeks, the lamb learns, hey, this is a pretty cushy place to be. I'm being fed, I'm with my friends. I have the affection of the warmth of the shepherd's body. When the shepherd puts the lamb down, the lamb walks without a cast and never strays again. The Lord allows adversity to come to you and me as a lesser of evils to keep us from straying further into the wolf's mouth. So whatever you wrote for your cross and I have as my cross is allowed by the Lord in a way to help us. So all reality that happens to us is allowed by the Lord and a gift. Christianity, as we understand it, is about the cross, Christ's cross, our cross. And when we don't make up our crosses, when we carry what we're called to carry, then we can become fire. You know, there's the story of the Desert Fathers. One pilgrim went up to him and said, "Father Abba, how can I become like you?" The Desert Father opened his hands. Fire came off all 10 fingertips. That's us. We can become fire by the Lord's doing and become a healing presence in due time, gradually. And it's certainly not going to seem like that. That certainly doesn't seem like that to me. That said, I'm going to play a song of my wife singing. My wife is in heaven, no doubt, and wants to sing to you. To become a healing presence, we need to know who we are. We can't give what we don't have. So we have to know how much we are loved by God. And we obstruct that. Our own self-image is usually much darker and more blurred than God's image of us, which is we're his child. He loves us dearly. So I'll ask us to go through that semi-permeable membrane in our heart to the kingdom, which is in our heart, where Christ lives in the Theotokos and all the saints and my wife. Listen to her singing to you directly in your heart. So close your eyes and just listen.
Connected to Elder Ross's MacBook Pro.
The real question is, do I really believe that this is me? Do I believe that, at least metaphorically, the trees bow down when I walk by and the bells chime? That's the question. And the suggestion is that the answer is yes.
Everything
love you as much as anybody can. Yes, we'll love you as much as anybody
All I can say is that is heavenly. She's in good voice today. She's not always that good. We need to know that we can go through the semi-permeable membrane of our heart and into the kingdom anytime we want. Because in truth, this room is filled with you and me and angels. Each of us has a guardian angel. Each church has its own archangel. Each city has its own archangel. They're here. My guardian angel has a name. My archangel is a she. Now I know angels aren't male or female, but mine is. Mine's a she. Because I need a she to guard me and guide me. And the room is full of demons. It just is. And the demons are after my soul and yours. And they're going to tempt us in the most cunning, slippery, slimy, scummy ways. That's the way it is. And we're free. We can't fight the demons directly. All we can do is choose what side to be on. We're going to surrender to the Lord and the Theotokos and the saints and allow them to fight for us, or we're going to allow Satan to have his way with us. That said, on your index cards, and you can see well enough, write your answer to this question. Don't write the question, just the answer. Why am I here? God called me here, that's evident. So that's assumed. Now write down, okay, I assume that. Now, why am I here? So write your answer for yourself. We'll not talk about it.
Connected.
Help me at the end, place toward you. So you wrote, why am I here? And your answers differ, and they're all unique. Now write down this note, please. Dr. R thinks I am here. Dr. R thinks I am here to learn how to Dr. R thinks I am here to learn how to be still. I'll expand that a bit in a bit. So I made a short PowerPoint for today. Now, I must admit, that's the cover of my book, published by John and Tonya Maddox from Ancient Faith Publications. I'm biased. That's the nicest cover I've ever seen. I, of course, had nothing to do with it. But, it's a white background. It's an alive, singular plant growing amidst beautiful, hard rocks. So I will say the cover of my book is a selfie for you and me. It's a selfie of our soul. Christ is our physician. We don't do the healing. No. He's our complete healer. He's our complete healer, but he wants us to be his presence on this planet. You might like that. You might not. I might like that. I don't like it. I want to be left alone. Don't look at me for some semblance of Christ's presence. Please, you're not going to find it. However, we don't have any choice. That's who we are. We are his, and he wants to go through us. To the extent that we allow him, so he will. Now, the definition, just copy down those words, strength and hope. Strength and hope. That's the operational definition of healing presence. Strength and hope. Strength and hope. There's a sidebar that I don't have time to go into now, but I've already thought about giving a workshop next year here, that we can be a healing presence to ourselves through our thoughts. And we do have much more control over our thoughts than we give ourselves credit for. And the culture is very much infected by William James, 1900, who said, human existence is the stream of consciousness. And our job is to get into a canoe and go into a stream of consciousness and la 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 lu 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 and then die. And of course that's fatal. Because if we get into the canoe, because most thoughts are dark and negative, if we get into the canoe and simply follow our minds, we don't realize it, but the stream of consciousness that we get into is really attributable to the Niagara River, which in due time goes over Niagara Falls. Not a good. So we can either be in the stream and go along with our conscience, or we can do something about it. Get in our little helicopter and control our thoughts. We can't control our thoughts. We can say no to negative thoughts. I can't go there very much right now, except to say that's that. And we can. So, strength and hope. It's not rocket science. When I'm with somebody, mailman or mailwoman or whomever, when I finish talking and watch that person walk away, if the person is walking away a little more sprightly of foot, then I've given that person a little bit humanly strength and hope. Apart from belief and all else, it's a human being. If, however, we talk, especially if we get into a difference in argument, and the person walks away from me slumpy and down, as can happen, then I've depleted the person from strength and hope. You understand what I'm saying? We can give others strength and hope by our presence and sometimes by our words and behaviors and comments. All over, in the family, in the neighborhood, at Oak Camper. St. Vladimir is where I counsel and teach students. That's simply an ordinary enough photo of an ordinary enough family scene. Myself with my oldest grandson, Colin, carving a turkey at Thanksgiving. Now you can see his shoulders are up by his earlobes. The boy is terrified. It's the first time he used an electric knife. Colin, you can use the electric knife. Oh, Papa, I'm scared. You can do it, fella. So, he doing the electric knife and me, mentoring him, carved the turkey, and of course afterwards felt much strength and hope. I mean, I carved it. So he has a younger brother and sister. Oh, I used the electric knife on the turkey. We can be so that's an example of healing presence. Ordinary, ordinary, ordinary. And the way we do it is stillness and prayer. Stillness is a form of prayer when we try to listen to God's voice, which is who is speaking to us all the time, guiding us, being our strength and our song. All we have to do is listen. Within you and within me are two selves. Father Hopko used to talk about many selves. We have an inner village, which we do, but we can reduce them down to two: a light self and a dark self. That's who you are. That's who I am. That's who everybody is. We're all children of Adam and Eve, apart from belief systems and values and life experience. So I have a photo of your interior and mine. It's a selfie. This is what you look like and what I look like on the inside. Light self, dark self. Frankly, this is one of the best photos I've ever seen. It's seamless, one person, two depictions, light and dark. So the light side of me and you, illumined by Christ, candle, or the dark self where I or you, we blow out the candle, and then we're dark. We're free. And truth be told, I'll do too well with freedom. Lord, just help me. On your card, just to reinforce that, right now, what is that selfie saying to you? How does it apply to you? What does it mean to you? And again, we won't discuss it. Too private. Isn't that a great photo? Isn't that a great photo? So within our heart is light and darkness, workshop. And these are not my words, but the words of an ascetic saint. All life is really energy. And I'll say this, and it'll be recorded on Ancient Faith Radio, and that's okay, in the Borders on Heresy. God is energy. That is to say, energy is the moral equivalent of spirit in our language. And all material, my fingertips and this microphone, are simply condensed energy. We know that. You and I are simply electrons, protons, and neutrons in such motion that we look solid, but we're not solid. And if they stopped, it is half a cup of matter. We're mostly energy, condensed energy. I was thinking that this morning. The Eucharist is condensed spirit, condensed energy, condensed God. How does God fit in the Eucharist? I don't know. Do I believe that's the body and blood of Christ? Yes. Do I believe that all divinity is contained there and it comes into me and is ingested? Yes. How? I have no idea. But it's all spirit. The tablecloth is spirit, energy, condensed. So that's what happens if I decide, to the best I can, thy will be done. Going to try to live a life of integrity as best I can, and pray, and be still, and say 3 prayers of the day. That's what happens. We walk around with this candle. And I may not see it. Others do. They may not say anything. But they can be impacted. Their energy can change because of our energy. We can alter energy. We know that. Our bodies, the body you have right now is utterly different than the body you had 7 years ago. Every cell has changed. Mine too. We're in a state of continual metamorphosis. Okay. And we change our internal energy by life, certainly our interactions with others. There is a Satan, really, really, really. And Father Schmemann used to say to our seminarians, Satan is not down on 42nd Street, New York, with the prostitutes and the Johns. And he's got them. He's up here at St. Vladimir's trying to eat our souls. Now I'm connecting the dots. Satan, who's out there, I'm not Satan and I don't contain him. But he tempts me and you through our dark side. That's how he gets in. I was reading St. John the other day. Satan entered Judas. How'd he get in? Through his dark side. So it's no sin to have ugly, scummy, rotten thoughts. I have them all the time. So do you. It's temptation. Temptation is not sin. So if I have all these thoughts that are really bad, that doesn't make me bad. That simply means I'm tempted. And St. Anthony of the Desert said he was tempted for 40 years, fiercely. If we try to be half decent, we're going to be fiercely tempted. If I choose to indulge those thoughts, ooh, la, 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 then I sin. Now I'm going to show you a photo of the way I was taught sin is. We heard a different definition this morning, Orthodox. There are different Orthodox definitions of sin. I was taught at St. Vladimir's that sin is missing the mark. And I must admit, I was Roman Catholic 40 years, and then a Quaker for 3 years, and went on Zen meditations. Each religion has its own definition of darkness, sin. I really love the Orthodox definition. Missed the mark. Now, it's built upon, originally, Archer. Missed the mark, missed the black in the bullseye, maybe missed the whole target totally. Current analogy for sin for me would be a GPS. I drove down yesterday with a seminarian. He said, "You don't have your GPS on." I said, "I have an inner GPS." He said, "Me too." If I don't follow the GPS, I miss the mark. I go astray. I become lost. And I know that feeling, and so do you. Uh-oh, what am I doing in this neighborhood? That's sin. And I love this photo taken in Antiochian village. Because to be an archer requires a certain asceticism. You notice, hey, she is shooting that arrow properly. She's got an elbow up, arrows horizontal, eyes on the bullseye. There's a certain lifestyle to avoid sin, to get that arrow daily, momentarily, where it's supposed to go, do the task properly. So if I'm in my dark side, I can say no to the thoughts. I can say the Jesus prayer. I can say, Lord, have mercy. But I'm free to do that or not. That's the question. And it's a question all day long. We win some and we lose some. St. John said we sin every day. Lord, have mercy. But it's a choice. Which self do you want others to meet this afternoon and this evening and tomorrow? And me too. So that's that, becoming a healing presence. Please write on your index cards, one time someone was a healing presence to me. One time, someone was a healing presence to me. Now, the point of that is to help us in our cognitions be aware of the behaviors done to me so that I can do them better. Anyone willing to share what you wrote? Anyone willing to crawl out on that limb? Takes courage to stand up. And I would like you to stand up so everybody hears you. Ooh. Georgia, please. Loudly. Come up here. They'll hear you better. This is my friend, Georgia.
So I wrote the name of someone who's become a healing presence to me, but my list was actually already at least 9 people long. And one of the people on my list is Dr. Rossi. About 3 or maybe 4 summers ago, I had been on a trip to Montana, where I'm from, and I go every single summer. And it was just about to be the 15 days of the Panagia in August, and an Orthodox woman friend of mine said, my spiritual father suggested that we all pick a virtue to work on during fasting periods, and this is what I'm going to work on. What do you want your virtue to be? And I had an incredible time in Montana, an incredible peaceful summer with our children there, and time kind of away from the world and immersed in starting to be the beautiful paraklesis at night. But there were also the challenges that come up, especially when you have 7 children and there are constantly 9 people in 1 or 2 small rooms, and you rub elbows and you fall down and you get up. So I was really trying to look inside and pray about what's the virtue that I want to work on right now. And I was kind of heavy-hearted about a couple of things. And then we started back across the United States, and we got to Chicago, where we went to Lake Michigan. And 2 of my daughters, who'd gone to this wonderful Crossroad program and have been spoken to by Dr. Rossi, were reading a book there called Becoming a Healing Presence. And they were just reading, and we were sitting there on the beach, and I was blessed to have my daughters say, do you want me to read some of this book to you? And I said, yes. Anyway, this became my virtue, Becoming a Healing Presence. And this was a part of Dr. Rossi helping Christ coming into my heart through him to become a healing presence. But I was just thinking again today how much that book and his words and his peaceful presence have blessed me in the past, how they've blessed me again today. And some of my other people today were Deacon Youtham, who was a healing presence for me in his amazing, amazing presentation that should be heard from every Orthodox Christian in the United States, or should become a book. Another one was, I took a walk with someone today. It was a healing presence. Another one is my husband. He gave a sermon when he was away giving a talk in California 2 weeks ago, and I heard that sermon and it changed my life. And last, the priest who I confessed to 2 weeks ago was a healing presence. Confession is always healing and life-changing, so that was a few of the people on my list.
A variant, that's one of the reasons you're here, to be with people who are, for you and me, a healing presence, to be in the presence of a whole lot of people who want to do that better. We're all in the healing profession, one way and another. I have a whole bunch of stuff I'd like to do. I'm watching time. I want to reinforce, as much as I can, God's notion that he wants us to be still. Al, just be still. To help us with that, I will ask us to act it out. Ooh, oh, Dr. Rossi, let me sit down. I'm too cushy. When I ask, I'm going to ask everybody to get up. And we're going to act out Exodus 14:14. Take that reference down. Put EX, as in Exodus, EX 14:14, so you know where it came from. This is the Bible. This is God's Word. That's what God said. The Bible, as is very clear, is high drama. In Exodus 14:14, I'll paraphrase. The Israelites have been in Egypt for a long time. God says to Moses, enough already. Get my people out of here. Moses takes the Israelites, and some exegetes say a third went, 2/3 stayed behind, whatever. How many? We don't know. Some exegetes say 6,000, some say 60,000. I don't care if there were 6 people. Moses took them, destination unknown, into the wilderness. They had food for a day. Then what? God provided manna. Try to think about what that's about. God has pregnant women, people with Alzheimer's, little children in the desert. They walk a few days' journey, then they come to a big body of water, the Red Sea, the Reed Sea. And the sequence is really important because it's God's Word. Then they turn around, and what do they see? Pharaoh and his charioteers coming with brass on horses, javelins, to kill him. And it says in the Bible, they became sarcastic with Moses. What? There weren't enough graves in Egypt. You brought us into the desert to die. And Yahweh says to Moses to tell the people, the Egyptians whom you see today, you will never see again. I will fight for you. That's high drama. Imagine that you're an Israelite in the desert. This aisle has just become the dividing line between the Israelites and the Egyptians. The Egyptians are killers. And I'm going to ask all of you to stand up, stand in place. Don't do it yet. Just move your feet. Israelites one way. And then when I ask, and I want the Egyptians to make noise like killers. Everyone face the Red Sea. Stand and walk in place, please. Get the kinesthetic energy. Feel your body move. Move your feet up and down. La, 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 lu, 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 up and down. Now, Israelites, turn around and face your killers, and killers sound like killers. Ah! Turn and face them. Look at your killers. Okay, sit down, please. I did this one time at Rutgers University, invited by the Coptic OCF and Dodo me. And they were really wonderful kids, 80 of them. I had half of them, and I made the Egyptians, Coptic, killers. I had asked their forgiveness. I didn't mean to make the Egyptians, whom you are, killers. That, of course, that's the Bible. But it's also a setup to help me and you understand. It's what God said. And I would say, my little opinion, Exodus 14:14 is the chiastic moment of the whole Old Testament. Everything leads up to that and down from it. That's the Passover. That's the Christian Pascha based on the Passover. Christ is our Passover. Okay. The Egyptians whom you see today, you will never see again. I will fight for you. And I hope you know the next words. And I'll ask you to write them. You have only, this is the Bible, look it up. It says, you have only to be still. You have only to be still. That's what God told Moses to tell his people. That's what he's telling us to do today. And if I had an hour, I would make a case that the whole rest of the Old Testament and the New is about the Israelites and us refusing to be still. Just won't do it. Won't do it. So just copy this reference. Isaiah 30:15, because I'm running out of time. Isaiah 30:15 says, don't copy the quote, you can look it up. It says, in stillness and in trust is your salvation. Isaiah, 600 years later. And you know what the next 4 words are? And you would not. So you won't what? You just won't be still. And then Isaiah says, oh no, we're going to ride away on our steeds, on our horses. We say, oh no, I'm going to go check my email and check my Facebook and set up a soup kitchen and call my sister, and I'm not going to be still. There's a high price for that, because that's what God wants. That's what he said. Just copy this reference, PS 46, Psalm 46. You know what Psalm 46? Psalm 46 is a really interesting psalm. It's all about tumult and earthquakes. In the middle it says, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. And the converse is implied. Hey, if you're not still, you might not know that I'm God. And if you don't know that I'm God, you might not know yourself, because you're made in my image and likeness. That's what many people just don't know. I'm a clinical psychologist. I had an office in Manhattan, in the White Plains. Overflow clientele. People paraphrased it, but they were looking for identity, peace. I don't have any peace. I have 3 cars, I have an indoor swimming pool, and no peace. How come? That's how come. That's what we, caregivers, need as obliquely or directly as we can to help other people discover. So, both at Antiochian Village, at the Ancient Faith Ministries Conference, and Oak Camper last year, I gave everyone 2 of the Philaret cards, and I'll give them out now. So take 2, and I would like a volunteer to come up and read the Philaret prayers. So I need a volunteer.
O Lord, grant me to meet the coming day in peace. Help me Help me in all things to rely upon your holy will. In every hour of the day, reveal your will to me. Bless my dealings with all who surround me. Teach me to treat all that comes to me throughout the day with peace of soul and with firm conviction that your will governs all. In all my deeds and wounds and words, guide my thoughts and feelings. In unforeseen events, let me not forget that all are sent by you. Teach me to act firmly and wisely without embittering and embarrassing others. Give me strength to bear the fatigue of the coming day with all that it shall bring. Direct my will. Teach me to pray. Pray yourself in me. Amen.
What's your name?
Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole. I'm told that in Orthodoxy, apart from the Our Father and Kyrie eleison, that's the most oft said beloved prayer. So you have 2 copies. I would suggest that you say this prayer every morning. Morning means before noon. It doesn't mean instantly. And then you give one away. To whom? I don't care. But you might be surprised. I hear all the time, 3 months later, I found the prayer under my daughter's pillow. Hey. Or I walked by the cubicle of a colleague and saw this on her computer, or whatever. I wish there were time for interaction and all else. My time is up, so let's have a little moment of silence. Sit. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Together, let's just, in the words of St. Irenaeus, relax in God's hands. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Thank all of you very, very much.